When you're referring to multiple timelines and the
Yes,
idea that does one of these timelines lead to the idea of ascension and others not?
correct.
Okay. And what happens to our children if we choose a timeline for ascension? Do we stop seeing them in the new reality where there is peace and no war?
Well, if you're suggesting that the children are not on the same wavelength, then yes, you ultimately won't experience them anymore. But if they're on the same wavelength, they will be experienced by you.
So, what advice do you have for people who feel very uncomfortable with that idea?
Uncomfortable with what idea?
The idea that their loved ones would disappear because they're choosing a path that's very different.
If they truly are loved ones, then you will let them walk whatever path they choose. Because love needs to be unconditional, or it's not really love.
That sounds
Because again, remember, you're all eternal, infinite beings. And even if you're taking different paths temporarily, you will meet again.
it's strange. It sounds like tough love.
Well, then that's tough. We're making a joke. But the idea is it's true love when you allow someone to be who they need to be. Even if you understand that they may be making choices, you have taught them the best you can, they simply won't accept that teaching that could make it easier for them. Again, what they choose to do with what you share is none of your business because they are an individual. They have their own path, and you've done your best to give them the option to choose something more joyful. But if they haven't chosen it, then you have to see that that's your first clue that they may need to take a different path first before they come around to that realization in their own good timing. That's true love, because you come from a position of seeing them as strong and powerful enough to eventually get the realization. Otherwise, you're seeing them as weak. Oh no, poor them. They're at a loss. I'm losing them. They're lost. Don't see them that way. See them as a powerful being taking a journey that may not be the journey that you prefer, but it may be the journey they need to wake them up. So you have to see it as an act of love, true love, to let them be who they are after you've done everything you can to give them the option to make other choices.
You know, one thing I notice is that you always look at other people and other beings as being empowered.
Of course, because you are. Remember, even when you feel that you're not empowered, you're using your power to create that. That's the paradox. When you feel out of control, you're controlling that. When you feel you lack trust, you're trusting that you lack trust. When you don't feel confident, you're confident that you lack confidence. You cannot be not confident. You cannot be not trusting. You cannot be out of control. You cannot be disempowered. If that was true, you would have no experience at all. It's simply that you're using your power, you're using your trust, you're using your confidence, and you're using your control to create things you don't prefer instead of the things you do.
And so in our society, I think often we're trained to see people as being disempowered.
Yes.
And so that's one of the first changes that you can make in how you perceive others.
Yes.
In order to
Everyone is completely empowered, but sometimes they use their power to forget that they're empowered.
And of course, that doesn't mean not extending assistance. It just
Of course
simply
not.
means
But you can
perceiving
only
them
extend
different.
that assistance so far. You can only give them the understanding that it is an option and an opportunity to realize the paradox, and that they are empowered and simply using their power to create a feeling of being disempowered. But if they don't understand that and don't have the wherewithal, the tools, or the notion, or the desire to understand or accept that, then what they do is none of your business. You've done all you can. That's it. Move on.
So that helps navigate
Yes.
physical reality
And again,
and our relationships.
You'll meet them again someday, and you'll all have a good laugh about it.
But I think it also has such a personal impact when you consistently see other people as being empowered.
Yes.
It also
It empowers.
amplifies your own energy.
Yes. And therefore, by amplifying your own energy, you may rise to a level where you have more wherewithal to share with them in a way that might actually tip the scale for them.
And that's really true, because as your frequency goes up, then you perceive much more precisely exactly what another person needs in order to move to the next step.
Exactly. But still, you may come across people who have a particular path, and they may need to go down a very different path at first. And you have to get to a point where you can discern that too. And be okay with that, because you're still seeing them as empowered.
So ultimately, it's a big journey of discernment.
Yes.
Learning how to discern better,
Yes.
better, and better,
Yes.
and better. Yes.
And make the choices that are in alignment with the things you now are capable of discerning.
Right.
That are really, really true in your heart of hearts for the kind of reality you really prefer, regardless of the appearances going on around you.
Fascinating.
Yes,